It's time to review our Constitution unit, starring Mr. Turco and his trusty sidekick, Mr. Turco. And now to the questions.
I think power is important to separate because if you don't, it's like it could cause an explosion and stuff.
Separation of power means no one person or even one branch of government holds all of the power to govern. For example, the legislative branch can pass laws, but the executive branch actually enforces or carries out those laws. Finally, the judicial branch settles arguments about the laws. In this way, each branch of government checks or balances each other out so that power is separated fairly among the three branches.
I think unalienable rights is like when the aliens try and take our rights. You gotta stand up for yourself, you know what I mean? You gotta remember that song, you gotta fight against the aliens for your right. To keep your rights, you know what I mean?
Unalienable, sometimes called inalienable, means something that can't be taken away or denied. So unalienable rights are rights that are so basic that no government can take them away. Three key unalienable rights listed in the Declaration of Independence are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
This one's easy. It's just like that song. If you're the president, it's like the song, "You got the power." Yeah, it's like that.
The president is the chief of the executive branch of government. The president's job is to make sure the laws passed by Congress are carried out or enforced. It's a pretty important job. Imagine there were laws about speed limits, but no police to enforce them. The president must sign the bill before it becomes a law. He also has the power to veto or reject a law, but if enough members of the legislative branch still want it to become law, then it automatically becomes law even without his signature. This is another example of checks and balances or separation of power. The president is also the commander-in-chief of the entire military. He's the one who decides where and how troops are deployed. But in another example of separation of powers, he must first get permission from the legislative branch before going to war against an enemy.
Well, it's first. It's not second. I know that.
When the Constitution was ratified, many states wanted to attach a Bill of Rights to expressly guarantee certain rights that could not be taken away by the government, very similar to the rights they had experienced as British subjects. I know, you're talking about the rights of Englishmen. The First Amendment in the Bill of Rights outlines several important freedoms: freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press or news stations to freely report on the news, and the right to peacefully assemble and protest government practices if the people feel they are unfair.
The leg is what? Bro, that's not a thing.
The legislative branch of government makes the laws. It's divided into two chambers or houses, the House of Representatives and the Senate. The Senate only has 100 people. That's because each state gets 2 senators, no matter how big the population. This favors small states. The House of Representatives currently has over 400 members. That's because the bigger your state, the more representatives you get to elect. This favors the big states. In the end, before a bill becomes law, Both the House and Senate have to agree on the details. It's another example of checks and balances, or separation of powers.
Okay, Google, what is a republic?
Here's the definition of republic. A state in which supreme power is held by the people and their elected representatives, and which has an elected or nominated president rather than a monarch.
Did you get all that?
There are two major political parties today, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. Political parties seek to get people elected who will reflect their particular set of views or beliefs about how the country should operate. Remember Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton? They both wanted to see America prosper, but they had different ideas about how it should be done. Political parties exist because we live in a republic. A republic is a government in which people elect representatives to rule for them.